All right, we're live.
Good morning, Facebook land.
Yes, good morning indeed. So, how shall we start? I guess just by telling them what we're up to?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool.
And I can't see any questions, as you know, so it's all you.
Yeah. So, actually, Maryn's going to be here in a week, which is really exciting.
Yay.
Maybe we'll be able to do some where we're actually in the same room. But for the moment, we just wanted to make sure people know we're kind of partway through enrolling for a special, we're calling it kind of like a spring into summer session of some courses that we are offering, a selection of our courses, which will start May 3rd and go through July 12th. They're a selection from our Indie Birth Midwifery School, is what I meant by that. So I think we have 20 that are available of our 30 that we have. We just kind of picked and chose the ones that would work the best for this way of doing it. And we really are excited to be offering this more clearly and sort of putting some more energy into this part. We have put a lot of energy into the school the first 2 years of its existence. And now we want to make some of these resources available to people who are outside of the school, who maybe just want to take a class or two here or there and don't want to commit to a full 2-year program. Maybe you're a mom who wants to just learn about some of these specific topics. Maybe you're planning a free birth, which we can talk about. Or maybe you're a doula who wants to sort of like bone up on some of these skills yourself, even though you maybe won't use them as a midwife. Or maybe you secretly do want to be a midwife. We don't know. We suspect a lot of you do. Since at least that's been our experience. Like a lot of our clients become people who want to be birth workers of some kind or educators. So we have a lot of really cool options, and we wanted to talk to you about some of them.
Cool. Wow. Out of the 20 classes, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the prenatal care class that I'm currently mostly in charge of, because I think it's a really great class for anyone, truly, because it's not about complications, it's not about pathology, it's just about normal and our view on prenatal care, which seems to be pretty unique out there in the world. So, like Margo said, maybe you're just pregnant and doing your own prenatal care. Maybe you're just curious about prenatal care in general and where it came from and what the flow of prenatal care generally looks like in a midwife setting. One really cool thing or perspective I think that we offer that you're not going to get anywhere else, although I'm not aware of tons of prenatal care classes happening anywhere, really, but is the Wise Woman model. So we'll go over what that means in detail, and really the whole course is shaped from that perspective. So what that means in short is learning to either, make your own prenatal care, or if you're helping someone else as a doula or a midwife, to really know your stuff and learn to put the woman in the center of her experience, even though there are topics that we might want to bring up, and there's technology and tools that can be offered to the woman based on clinical results or, where she's at in pregnancy. But ultimately, all that knowledge comes back to respecting the woman and hearing where she's at and what she needs, and, having your own boundaries as a birth worker. So it's much more than your typical prenatal care, especially if you've experienced that, maybe with a doctor or, even with a licensed midwife, because generally people that are in that box, prenatal care isn't terribly interesting. They just offer it in a really cookie cutter way, and they're in charge, and all the tests, happen whether you like it or not. So that is not what we'll be doing. And in addition, you'll get to kind of create your own resources, which I always feel like is the best part of many of our courses. We really don't want you to waste your time. We want you to be involved in this learning in a way that you leave with actual resources. So even if you're not going to be a midwife or a midwife for a while, certainly you can think about the kind of resources you'd like to develop, fun ones and maybe more clinical ones or informed choice or whatever it is. And then lastly, I'd say there's lots of fun videos in this class, and you'll get the chance to find someone in your community to kind of practice on if they'll let you, and put some of the skills to work. So that's a longish spiel about the prenatal class, but if there are any questions, I guess, Margo.
Yeah. Or if people have like prenatal care questions that they want to hear from us about, to give them a sense of what they might expect and the kind of perspectives they might get, people are totally welcome. And then someone had said you were really echoey, which is usually my fault. I turned my volume down, so hopefully that sounds better. If someone wants to give me like a "that sounds better" comment, that would be awesome. We have a question, which is how many courses total are there, and is there any kind of package to get all of them? And yes, so there are 30 courses total, and that is what makes up our 2-year midwifery program. So if you go to indiebirthmidwiferyschool.org, you can learn tons more about the 2-year program, which includes all 30 of the courses in a structured format. So we do 5 courses per trimester, and we do 3 trimesters a year. We're currently on a break, which is why we're doing this special session of these 20 that we're opening up to the general public. So you don't have to have any sort of prerequisites or credentials or anything. These classes are all online and open to anyone. We keep needing to repeat ourselves with that, which is really unique. I know as a student, there were sometimes things available like webinars. There were sometimes like some online conferences available to check out. And there's a tiny handful of, more comprehensive, semester-long kind of things here and there. But really, the midwifery schools around, A, don't have the perspective we have, and B, don't typically offer this sort of these sorts of small-scale learning opportunities. So I know I would have really loved this as a student midwife. I mean, I probably would have taken our 2-year program if it had existed at the time. Or I know I would have, but if I were a more advanced student who maybe has done a lot of self-study or has been through a couple of the other programs that didn't work out for them, this would be a really perfect way to round out some of that education more. And then also, like we said, this is also great for some parents. I know we have some folks who, maybe are planning a free birth and have liked the looks of especially some of the emergency skills kinds of courses. And then also the prenatal care course that Maryn talked about a little bit. And which I could bring. Let me share my screen. And there we go. So this is the page that if you follow the link, sorry, I should scroll to the top here. If you follow the link in the original comment, this is what you'll see. And then most of these are slowly getting their own pages with more information and descriptions. I've been doing one of those a day-ish. And you can see all the different topics we have. So pregnancy nutrition would be a really amazing one for someone who wanted a more in-depth perspective on that, even if they're not a birth worker, if they're just a pregnant person. We've got the recognizing and handling the rare complication of postpartum hemorrhage, the course Maryn talked about, which is the Wise Woman Prenatal Care course, and so many more. The skills prep course is also really good, and I was thinking as I was putting the page together would be something that I think a lot of free birth parents would be interested in based on conversations I've had with them. Midwifery herstory is super fun. It's really, really cool historical stuff from Alexandra Goldbert, who's just one of the reigning experts on the topic. Lactation science and breastfeeding support, the journey through the pelvis and exploration of the dystocias. That was the page I was working on this morning. And so many more. I guess we could talk about another one. I'm trying to think which one I could say something about.
Yeah, while you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we're posting about these every day. So if you want to catch up, Instagram is a good place to see all the posts together and get a little bit more information about specific classes. And then, of course, they're posted around on Facebook too.
this is one that comes to mind as one that I think would be really useful for people if they're, pregnant with twins, for example, or have a breech baby they are anticipating, the complex birth course. It also covers long labors, so it's kind of fun, and one that I know a lot of already practicing midwives are wanting to take as well to get some more perspectives on that. What else? We've got a birth trauma and transport class, the baby's transition earthside, and neonatal resuscitation. So, just to be clear too, we often are doing webinars, 1 or 2 a month, typically. And those are also available if you haven't checked out that part of the website. But if you're really interested in a topic and going deep with it, we would totally recommend these 10-week courses because they combine stuff we've created, but then also webinars that we've had people do, and then also exclusive video content that we've commissioned from other experts in the field. So, for example, with this Baby's Transition Earthside course, we have some really amazing webinars from Karen Strange that are also available in our webinar shop, but the 10-week course incorporates that, plus some other exclusive content from her, plus other videos and resources and readings and assignments to bring all of it together in a way that is really comprehensive. So, I'm just blabbing at this point. What else? Our students have so many good things to say about all of these, and we've got testimonials on the pages we've made as well for you to check out if you want to hear from people that have actually taken it. I'm going to stop sharing. I guess I could talk about one that I'm sort of in charge of. Which one should I talk about, though?
I don't know, the nutrition one, like you mentioned, is a...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's great. We go through all kinds of different perspectives, the science, behind a lot of the recommendations. What are macronutrients? What are micronutrients? And then, like I said, we get into some different perspectives. And then we also spend time talking about intuitive eating, mindful eating, connecting with our bodies. The students who've taken it have all really liked it. The feedback has been that it's just an overwhelmingly awesome amount of information. And really stimulates people to look at their own food choices. So part of it, the assignments are doing your own food journals and reflecting on them and applying what you've learned. And like all of our courses, it's not you need to think this way, black and white. We present the information, I present the information, and have some other experts pulled in to present their perspectives. And the goal is to have you leave having sort of sorted through those and figured out what makes the most sense for you and your community. So we look at different diet types, how to meet the recommendations, and we talk about different recommendations, so not just a one-size-fits-all thing, but whatever ones you're wanting to focus on, how to meet those in a variety of different ways. We also look at budgeting, so how to work with people or yourself if you're working on a pretty limited food budget, and also different ways to be culturally competent when we work with people and meet our needs and nutritionally in pregnancy, whatever background we come from. So it's a really fun class, and people usually really like it, and the assignments are fun. And the students have made some really incredible resources that they can use for their clients. One of them is how to put together a 1-week meal plan and grocery list for someone who is only able to buy food with state benefits, so WIC and SNAP or whatever it's called in your state. So they get a pretty limited budget, and then they have to work out how to meet those requirements, if at all possible, for the week. And so those have been really amazingly cool resources and have given me a lot of really good ideas for how to eat better on the cheap. So, yeah, it's a little bit about that class. But that's the format of most of them, is we give you a ton of information and a ton of perspectives, and then we let you kind of sift through it and work out what it all means for you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's really not that complicated how the platform works or, how you go through the course. It's really all there. So I think the hardest part is just choosing what you want to focus on for a 10-week period. I think, for a lot of women especially, it can be an awesome time to do that. Kids aren't in school or whatever. And yeah, I would just encourage people that are interested in learning to make that time. Like, we all know how hard it is, and the thought of devoting 10 weeks might be overwhelming, but it's worth it. It's worth it to do that for yourself and to get your brain stimulated and to go down a bunch of rabbit holes and be creative for a little while. So maybe it can be a gift to yourself this summer.
Yes. Well, I feel like I had something I was going to say that was going to be so good, and now it's just gone. Where did it go? That most of the courses, if you're going to do all of the work, which you totally don't have to do, nobody's going to kick you out if you don't do the work, but you will have access for 10 weeks, and the content typically takes 3 to 4 hours a week if you were to do all of it. So somebody did ask me that the other day. Someone texted me, someone who's a friend and had been a student midwife and has gone a different direction now, but it's like, oh, there's some classes I'm thinking I really want to take. Which ones do you recommend? And it was really hard for me I was like, I don't know. They're all really good. It just kind of depends what you want to learn. And then she asked how much time it would probably take to do it all. So 3 to 4 hours a week, typically. We tell our full-time students to expect about 20 hours a week when they're taking 5 courses at a time. And that's been pretty accurate. Cool. Anything else?
I don't think so. If there's no questions, then I think it's
right.
Explained well here.
I don't think so. You can see on that page, if you go to the link, a little short video that shows the platform. It's pretty much the same. We're on the sister platform now, but it looks exactly the same. And it'll show you kind of what the modules look like and what to expect. And as far as that goes, it's really intuitive and fun. And we hope that there's lots of people in for this session so that there will be some kind of discussion back and forth with others, but we'll just have to see how that plays out. So I guess the other thing is, at least for this session, we lowered the price by about $100. This is part of an experiment we're doing with the knowing that these courses are not live, being facilitated live right now. We don't have someone going through and giving feedback on all the work, although if I'm bored in my bed after having a baby, I might be poking around through there. We'll see. But like I said, there are areas for discussions, and so if there are other people in there with you, that will still feel cool. So, and we're obviously always available to our full-time students and a la carte students if you have questions that you want to email us about directly. So, cool.
Nice. I think that wraps it up.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.